Hey guys, Nick with 2. How do you do? This video I'm going to talk about blacksmithing. Some of you might know I've been taking a blacksmithing class at Potomac Guild, or Guild of the Potomac. And so I've been going there on Thursdays and learning a lot. But I just want to show you some of the projects that I did and discuss with you, what are the purposes and, you know, you know, uh, techniques and stuff like that of blacksmithing. So, of course, you have to have a hammer. I got this as a 2-pound cross peen hammer. For those of you that don't know, this is a peen, and this is called the cross peen because it goes across. There's some diagonal peens, and then there's some inline peens or vertical peens, different names. But of course, most of you know the ball peen. That's probably the most common peen name. But this is a cross peen. Most people know it as a blacksmithing hammer. Most of these come with a square face that's totally flat and has sharp corners. You don't want that for blacksmithing. You want a flat face but rounded corners. It's just for easier for drawing material out, stuff like that. So the first project that we did was a center punch, and this is 1095 high carbon steel that we forged out and we ground a point on, and then heat treated it. With this we got out the non-magnetic, dunked it in some water, usually 1095 or the 10 series you want to do in oil, but you can also use in water. So we just use water for this, and then we did tempering, which is also known as running the colors. Basically you heat it up right here and you'll see colors start to run up the length of the center punch. That basically, that color tells you how soft the material's getting. Usually yellow is like 60s Rockwell hardness, and then purples 55, and blue probably 50. So I ran it up to a purplish blue, so it's around 50s. And that's hard enough to do most of your center punches on your annealed steel. So what is this used for? Basically, it's used for marking holes to be drilled, or marking holes, or marking things so you can see it when the metal is hot. You can't really use Sharpie or chalk in a forge because that'll burn off. So what you do is you use this, you make a mark, and you use a hammer, hit it, make a mark. That's a physical deformation into the metal, so when you heat it up, you pull it out, you can see where that center punch is, because it is a little divot, so you can see, and then you need to do whatever you want to do. Because if you want to put it on a fuller, you can find the center mark and put it on the fuller or on the side of an anvil, whatever you need to do. So it is a pretty useful tool. I actually use this in knife making to mark where to drill holes. So it is a useful tool. What do we do next? Next we did some hooks. We did basically this practices drawing out a point. So we drew out a point like this. You have to keep it square on 4 sides. Basically you only hammer on 2 though. So draw it out, make a point, and then make this curve, these 2 curves actually. And you don't need to use the rounded part of the anvil, which is called the horn. You can actually do all of this just with the flat of the anvil and your hammer. So it's the technique, just never hitting in the same spot. If you hit it in different spots, it'll curve. And it's a fun little project, and you get a nice hook out of it. This one we used a punch. We flattened this out and punched the hole, so you can drill this into a wall and it's flat rather than having to nail something in. And then the last part, heat it up and then use a twisting wrench, twist. Put a twist in these. And then the next project was a nail. Again, same thing, drawing out a point, and then there's a tool that we use. It's a nail header, and then it makes the nail head. This one's kind of lopsided, but just a simple nail, and it's useful. And then after that, we made a fire mover around our stick. I'll just show you one side at a time. This is the fire side. Basically, you can just move it around the coals or whatever you need. You draw it out, flatten it to around half an inch, draw a point, and curve it. This is 3/8 bar. And then on the other end, same kind of deal. Draw it out, and then bend it at a 90-degree angle, and curve it with a fishtail at the end for, a little handle. Then we made some leaves. Well, one leaf, but I made another one. This is the first one I made. Same sort of thing. You use the anvil to differentiate this part, the leaf part, from the stem, and then you work on the leaf and then draw out the stem a little bit. And this one I used a chisel to make the leaf marks, and this one I just used the cross peen of my hammer to make some different leaf marks. Let me zoom in there. So that's that. I also used a brass brush. If you heat it up to red hot and then rub a brass brush over it, you get this brass finish on it. So that's good. And the next project was a steak holder, or steak turner. Basically a little thing that you can grab your steak and turn it over with, or hot dogs, whatever you need to do. That we used a chisel to cut down the middle, draw out these tines, curve them on the horn of the anvil. These we actually used the horn. So that's that part. Then on this part, we have a 3/8 hole and a 3/8 inch rod. The teacher, he said, kind of jesting, it is a jest, a blacksmith can put a 3/8 or 1 inch hole in a 1 inch bar, and a machinist can put a 1 inch hole in a 1 inch bar, but the blacksmith is left with a bar with a hole in it, and the machinist is left with 2 bars and a bunch of chips. So what the blacksmith can do that the machinist can't is he can drift the hole in the material, and he'll still have material on the outside rather than drilling a hole, which removes material. This hole was, use what's called a drift. You slit a hole and you use a drift to push the material out rather than drilling and taking the material out. So pushing rather than taking away. So this one's actually stronger. You get more material around the edges, and just interesting. And real quick before my time limit goes up, the last project was a pair of tongs. This was for 1/4 inch bar stock. I don't know if you can see it, but it has a little thing so you can hold the bar and just pick it up and lock onto it like that. Very, very useful. You need a pair of tongs for pretty much every set of steel you're going to be working with, because you want the most amount of power or friction surface area touching the tongs, so you can have the most control. But thanks for watching. Remember guys,